Of a young couple killed in a deadly crash 4 years ago. It has been a heart-wrenching fight for justice. They're in court trying for a second time to put the woman who caused a terrible crash killing 2 people behind bars.
It's hell. It's hell for all of us.
Andalina Hechimovic was originally acquitted, set free, on the grounds that she'd been careless, not criminally negligent. But Crown lawyers are trying to overturn that acquittal on 2 counts of dangerous driving causing death. Now let me take you back nearly 4 years ago to when that young couple was killed in that car accident. This was in Pitt Meadows. Now, according to a witness, a car driven by Andalina Hechimovic lost control on the Lougheed Highway, merged into a right turn only lane, and ran a red light. She swerved into a concrete barrier, flipped over the median, and slammed right onto the roof of another car. Now, in that car, 21-year-old Johnny de Oliveira and his girlfriend, 19-year-old Beckie Dyer, both were killed instantly. They were coming back home from a concert and were just 2 blocks away when they were hit. And crash investigators alleged Hechimovic was driving aggressively on the night of the crash, but her testimony painted a very different picture. Hechimovic claimed that she was distraught that night from working her shift as a nurse because she was crying on her way home. She says she missed the lights and didn't realize she was merging into a wrong lane. Now, a judge ruled Hechimovic's actions, as I said, were careless but not criminal. Both counts were dismissed. The judge saying the Crown did not prove that there was a drastic change in her normal driving behavior, and essentially that her driving was the result of her having a bad day. Because of the decision, Hechimovic didn't even receive any kind of conditional discharge or probation. And we have with us now Debbie Dyer, the mother of Beckie Dyer, one of the victims in that crash. Debbie, what was it like being in that courtroom today?
It was actually awful because she was there as well, and I wasn't expecting her to be there. So, of course, my stomach's churning. There's tears, but I had a lot of support there with families, friends, and everything. So it really was good that they were all there with me to help support me going through this terrible time. It's reliving it all over again.
And that's it, right? I mean, you have to relive this, and when you see Hechimovic in the courtroom, that must just stir up all kinds of memories for you.
It's awful because you sit there and think it was so preventable. Their deaths were so preventable if she had paid attention to what was going on and what was happening and where she was at, and but it's awful to sit there and listen to the evidence all over again. Not in great detail, but at least for the judges to hear the reasonings behind it, because it has to be legal error that the judge made in coming to the judgment that they did.
Right. Hechimovic was acquitted because she didn't intentionally drive recklessly, and what the judge said was that she basically made a mistake, that she was in tears that day, having driven home from a stressful day at work. What do you make of that? That ultimately it was a mistake?
I don't find that as a good excuse. I work in the hospital. I've worked in emergency, but I don't go home and I don't drive like over the speed limit. I pay attention to not taking any accountability for it. She hasn't apologized. She hasn't done anything.
What do you want people out there watching and listening to know?
I want them to slow down. I want them to pay attention. I want them to be aware of your surroundings, because you don't want to be sitting where we're sitting right now, because you don't want to lose your loved one, and you don't want to be the cause of somebody else losing their loved one. So, we put out 2 videos on YouTube, and I'm hoping that those will get some play on YouTube and people will pay attention to those and see what kind of hell it is to live without your child. An empty table, at the dinner table, even an empty chair. Birthday parties. Beckie received the Citizen of the Century Award in June that she should have been able to accept, not me. She was the one that was honored by Pitt Meadows to receive that award, but she wasn't there to take it because somebody chose to break the law. So I went in her place. It was a great honor, and I wish she was here to see it.
Well, I know you brought photos along with her, and I know you think about her a lot, and I think everyone who's watching this can empathize or sympathize with you. So I do want to thank you for taking the time.
Well, thanks for having me. I just hope people pay attention now. Don't speed. Don't be distracted.